And helping us to further unpack this as well as other political developments of this particular week is political analyst Dr. Metji Makgoba from the University of Limpopo. Doctor, it's great to have you with us. Welcome. So as we wrap this week in political developments here at home, a lot happened. Of course, in by-elections, even more campaigns were taking place in various areas. Yesterday, the DA, for example, was out campaigning in Phoenix, still adamant that their departure from the GNU would spell economic doom for the country. Steenhuisen going as far as citing a letter that also the president has also made reference to early today that he received from business people who were very concerned about their departure from the government of national unity.
Yes, it's quite an interesting time for the GNU, and I think it actually exposes the DA's political stance, because initially we thought when they said they are pro-poor, we thought maybe they will come up with something more strategic to push for a more different budget. But given that they are clearly showing us that they are representing business, then it speaks to something else. But also the DA is also operating within constraints, because they are not going to leave the GNU as they've been threatening in the past weeks, because they have initially said that they would want to work with the ANC because they don't want the EFF and other parties next to power. So, and I think because of that, they are going to just stay in the GNU. But what they've been doing, I think it has been having a lot of deceptions, because when you check their stance on the VAT increase, you would think that actually the DA cares about the people. But when you look at closer to their issues, you realize that the DA has actually been trying to corner the ANC so that they can effect some of the changes that are not necessarily favorable to the people of South Africa.
Very interesting views there, Doctor, because we understand, you just heard the Deputy President Paul Mashatile as well saying the NWC is set to meet also on this very issue of the developments within GNU. And of course, President Cyril Ramaphosa, they're saying business does not dictate government or ANC decisions. So let's talk about this. I mean, Ramaphosa and the ANC had to manage the repercussions also in the midst of the US's move to also impose those 31% tariff hikes, sending markets on a tailspin globally. But he was also just in Soweto just a short while ago, where once again he reiterated their stance on the developments between the ANC as well as the DA.
I think business does understand that their interests are quite secure with the DA in the GNU. And it's something that is being discussed behind closed doors, in which business has a hand in the direction of this country. But Steenhuisen sort of just exposes that this is an obvious thing, that the country is also run by capital. And I think for this party, this is something that must be embarrassing, because if clearly the business or big business can want to try to show the government the direction it should take, then that's a problem, because it means that this is no longer a democracy for the people, it's a democracy for the elite. And I think it's something that must be interrogated closely, because business is not supposed to be dictating to the state, to the government, what they should do. But given what we have seen in the past and the way in which Steenhuisen is trying to use the letter from business to justify why they should stay in the GNU, then that's sort of something that is very problematic.
I mean, we also saw there the EFF saying while they were at the Land Reclamation Day in Sophiatown, Doctor, that they citizens of the country, once again calling for citizens of the country to identify suitable land, seize it, and then utilize it. And then they're saying that when they take over or are in government, they will then expropriate every land without compensation. What do you make of these remarks, especially at the back of the passing of the Land Expropriation Act?
I think it just shows how the state has been delaying the issue of the land, because it's an urgent matter. And there's no coordinated way by the state in redistributing the land. And by virtue of that, there's a demand for land, and the redistribution process is quite slow. And the EFF sort of sees that space, that people must occupy the land. And I think this is something that has been happening in many spaces in this country, in which they will occupy the land. But that causes tensions between the people and the municipality. We have seen people occupying places in which the municipality will come and dismantle their structures. And I think it shows that this country has a problem. If they don't resolve the question of land, we are going to consistently have this type of problems. I think this is a call to the government that they must increase their pace in which they are handling the land issue, because we can't celebrate freedom whereas people are still landless and they are still struggling just to have a place to live.
A very quick one, Doctor, before I let you go. SACP, they're just wrapping up its central working committee meeting, their central committee meeting, cleaning house, making their position on quite a few matters that we've actually discussed known in the political space. Very quickly.
Yeah, I think the SAPC has been, especially with this GNU arrangement, they've been critical of the ANC's decision to join forces with the DA. But these are sort of interpreted as empty threats, because if they are serious about dealing with the DA, they must give some demands to the ANC. And without that, then their call for the end of the relationship between the DA and the ANC is not going to be realized, because it shows from a distance that they disagree with the relationship between the ANC and the DA, because they call it a neoliberal arrangement. And if they are quite serious about ending this neoliberal marriage, they must come up strongly in terms of disciplining the ANC. And since 1994, their relationship with the ANC has been mutually beneficial, and they've sort of benefited from the ANC's being in office, and they do not necessarily want to take decisive actions against the ANC.
Especially when they're not happy with their own alliance with the ANC. Doctor, thank you so much. We're going to leave it there. There is political analyst Dr. Metji Makgoba there on political developments in the country this week.